Good morning. It is 9 o'clock on this Tuesday. We are rolling through February, and it's time for another edition of the Weather Desk. Today's top weather headlines from around Hampton Roads in the Mid-Atlantic region, across the United States, around the world. And that's going to be the case today. We've got some really interesting stuff to show you from overseas, and we're going to look heavenward again as we check out the night sky. Some cool stuff to talk up and let you know about a planetary alignment, though. Here's what we're starting with: flooding, rains, and avalanche danger over the western U.S. and parts of the Pacific Northwest with that flooding. We have ice caves and early growing seasons going on in other parts of the world. Wait till you see some of the video we're going to share with you on those ice caves. Incredible from over in Europe. And again, an early growing season. And then we've got that planet revolution. You know, it's the differences in how those planets time out going around the sun that create these alignments. And we've got a planetary parade to check out again tonight and for the next couple of days. Good viewing for that. A lot to break down, but we're going to start off by looking up to the northwest. You know, they've been dealing with flooding, and it has been really bad. Right now, the Pacific Northwest is seeing that flooding. A strong storm just swept across the region. It's been fueled by the atmospheric river. This is a look at conditions in Portland, which has gotten about 2 inches of rain over the past few days. Several landslides have also been reported there. A little farther to the north, Washington State is also dealing with flooding and strong winds. Those gusts knocked out power to upwards of 30,000 people and brought down trees like this one. You see it right there. 2 children and 1 adult had to be rescued after that tree fell on their car in Seattle, trapping them inside. Fortunately, they are expected to be okay. Now, we're going to stay out west, and we're going to get to the avalanche situation in a moment. But before we do that, let me show you an area of low pressure that is spinning here, that center of the low coming in and very close to Vancouver right now. You can see the rain that's been persistent over Seattle, heavy snow in the high country there. And this is after a previous system kind of came through there. This is kind of the parent low right here, but out ahead of it, there have been a couple other waves of energy that have been producing snow and rain across the region. So the Northwest has really seen a lot. And you know what? They're not done yet. We'll take a look a little farther out there to the west. More moisture streaming towards the Pacific Northwest. So we'll continue to keep an eye to this, but this is one of those situations while we're enjoying very pleasant weather on the East Coast, the Pacific Northwest dealing with more wet weather. And it's all this system that is eventually going to cut across the country, and it's going to drag a front through our area, bringing us chances for rain as we go late Thursday. Now, I mentioned we were going to stay out west and talk about the avalanche situation in Colorado. They are under an increased risk for avalanches as warmer temperatures have weakened the snowpacks. There have been hundreds of avalanches reported across the state in the last 2 weeks, and at least 2 people have died. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has a look at some dramatic new videos showing snowmobilers narrowly escaping one of the slides.
This morning, heavy snowpack and rising temperatures are raising the risk for avalanches across the west. This is the moment when 3 snowmobilers got trapped in a snowslide in Colorado, becoming partially buried by debris. They escaped, but snowboarder Nathan Ginn died Saturday, getting caught in an avalanche on a mountain nearby.
It was difficult knowing losing a friend, but, you know, he loved what he was doing.
Ginn's death is the 14th avalanche death across multiple states this season so far, compared to 16 during all of last year. This snowmobiler survived an avalanche in Colorado this month, despite being buried for more than 1 hour.
2 feet under the snow, we've just uncovered him. He is breathing.
We've now learned he had forgotten his avalanche transceiver at home. Rescuers only knew his location because he was with a friend who was able to call for help. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
He was very fortunate to survive that. You take a look at the video, and these avalanches are so scary because you don't get a clear warning on these things. You could be skiing down below the point where the snow breaks and the avalanche begins. You don't necessarily hear any cracking or any slough or anything. all of a sudden you just hear the roar of the snow coming down on you, and you've got very little time to react. I will say this is a natural phenomenon. It's something that occurs. The ski patrols are well aware of it. They actually do avalanche control at the major ski resorts. They'll have ski patrol out there, and they'll fire cannons to create that vibration, which shakes loose some of the snow that creates those avalanches. So there are steps that are taken to deal with this, but those folks that go kind of backcountry, some of them do some telemark skiing, or snowboarders will track off some of the more heavily monitored areas because they want to get that fresh powder, and that's where you can get into trouble. Truly, they say, you know, experts out there say the only way to really protect yourself from any threat of avalanche out there is if you are on terrain that's less than 30 degrees in steepness. So, you know, a lot of folks want to ski some of those steeper terrains, and you see those risks. All right, we're going to take you overseas, and the first place that we go now is Switzerland. And hikers are taking advantage of freezing temperatures. Look at this. They're exploring ice caves. Now, you can check this out. This is near Morterash Glacier in the eastern part of the country. These caves won't be around too long. They're actually formed when meltwater from glaciers carve out the tunnels as it surges out from under the ice. The cavities get bigger and bigger by warm air currents flowing into the gap. Now, during the winter months, the freezing conditions allow visitors to walk through, and you get these unbelievable, these spectacular views from inside. But those caves are incredibly dangerous to explore during the summer because of the thawing ice. You get blocks of ice that can fall, and you can get heavy meltwater that can come rushing through, especially if parts of the ice start to break free and you get some larger, quicker surges of that meltwater. So spectacular to check out. We wanted to share those video images with you and let you see some of those pictures, but not a place you want to be in the summer. Now, it's not freezing everywhere in Europe. In Spain, it's been unseasonably warm. Temperatures in Spain have caused almond trees to bloom weeks early. Take a look. This is in Catalonia, in the northeastern part of the country. The trees started to bloom in late January, which is nearly 3 weeks earlier than they typically bloom. This is now the second earliest year for almond trees to bloom since Spain started keeping records back in 1981. The earliest bloom on record was in 1993 when they occurred on January 8th, so incredibly early at that point. Now, back here in D.C., we're about a month or so from the cherry blossoms blooming in our nation's capital. And those trees, if you haven't ever been up there, it is so beautiful to check out. Originally a gift from Japan, and those trees have been planted, and you can just see how gorgeous they are. They normally start blooming in late March or early April, depending on the temperatures. And this year, the National Cherry Blossom Festival runs from March 20th through April 13th. Last year, trees hit the peak bloom pretty early in that window, right around March 22nd. Now, this year, I think it's going to be a little later. Remember how incredibly cold we were during the month of January, so that should keep the trees from blooming early this year. Of course, we'll continue to keep an eye up there to D.C., and we'll let you know as we get closer. It is worth the drive. If you've never been up there, it's something my wife and I very much enjoy. We take our kids. We've done that before, spent some time around the cherry blossoms in D.C. Beautiful. All right, we're going to talk about that other rare event that we were mentioning off the top of the show, and that's the planet alignment. It is happening this week. If you didn't catch it last evening, you've got another good shot at it tonight. The skies are going to be mainly clear. 5 planets will be visible to the naked eye. All right, 2 more, Neptune and Uranus, they'll require a telescope or binoculars, but you can catch all of these planets. Call it an alignment or a planetary parade. The best time to look is between 7 and 8 o'clock this evening. You'll want to face to the south. Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter will be to your right or to the west, and then Mars and Saturn will be to the left or to the east. So again, the best time to look was last night and tonight. If you didn't catch it last night, you should get a great look at it tonight, as skies should be mainly clear. We may see a little bit of cloud cover, but it looks really, really good. Now, the planets aren't lined up like that all the time. We call it a rare alignment, and the planets only occasionally align because they all have different revolution times around the sun. Hunter Forrest explains.
Each planet in our solar system takes a different amount of time to complete one orbit around the sun. For example, Mercury, being the closest to the sun, takes just 88 Earth days to complete one orbit. On the other hand, Neptune, the farthest planet from the sun, takes about 165 Earth years. Talk about never being able to go to a New Year's Eve party. These varying revolution times are due to each planet's distance from the sun and their orbital speed. Our closest neighbors, Mars and Venus, have pretty similar revolution times to us here on Earth. 1 year on Mars takes about 1.9 Earth years, while Venus gets to celebrate the new year every 225 days. As for us here on Earth, we all know it takes roughly about 365 days, plus a little more to complete a revolution around the sun. About 365.25 days to be exact. And since we're in February, sometimes we wonder, is this a leap year? Why do we even have a leap year in the first place? This year, no, it's not a leap year, but this extra quarter day accumulates over 4 years, adding up to one extra day, which is why we have a leap year every 4 years with 366 days instead of the usual 365. So leap years help us keep our calendars aligned with Earth's orbit around the sun, and without them, our calendar would slowly drift out of sync with the seasons. For 13 News Now, I'm meteorologist Hunter Forrest.
All right, interesting stuff there, Hunter. As we take a look again, the viewing for this evening should be great. I think we're going to enjoy mainly clear skies. I'm going to show you a sky view here in just a moment. It is a little hazy, but I think going into the evening, and again, the peak viewing times between 7 and, say, 8 o'clock or so, we should see mainly clear skies at that time. Here's a look at that Thompson Creek Window Company sky view, and this is from the Jordan. And you can see there are some high, thin clouds out there. It is going to be mostly sunny for most of the day, and we expect clear conditions this evening. But right now, as we check in at Norfolk International, it's partly cloudy and 50 degrees, more on those south-southwest winds, and what that's going to do to our temperatures here coming up. Let's talk about our weather headlines for the Mid-Atlantic. Sunny, or at least mostly sunny and beautiful today. Now, we do have shower chances coming up later Thursday. We could use a little more rain eventually, but we're not in dire need of it. Remember, we were very, very dry. We had moderate to severe drought. I've talked about this several times on the weather desk here recently, but right now we're just a little bit on the dry side of normal. And for the calendar year, we're actually above normal for the year. But again, when you talk about the drought situation and really the soil moisture and everything else, you look back for long, long periods of time, not just since the start of 2025. Now, our weekend is looking really good. We're going to see some temperatures up and down as we head through the weekend. Talk about ups and downs. Look back at the month of February. We started off pretty warm. I mean, 58 for the start of the month, and then we were a little cooler on the second. Had a couple of really warm days. Got folks thinking about spring, honestly, on the 3rd and 4th. I remember just how nice it was there. And then we got a couple cold pushes, one on that Wednesday, followed by another warm-up. We were chilly as we got into the 10th, 11th, and 12th. A brief warm-up, and then that super cold week last week with the heavy snow, some of the record-setting snow across parts of the region. Yesterday, up to 59. That's the warmest. The first time we were above average in the past week or so. So again, really at times we had that cold stretch, but we've been up and down through the month of February. I mentioned we're doing fine as far as rainfall goes. We're technically abnormally dry from the U.S. Drought Monitor, but look at all the rain that we've had this month. I mean, we picked up over an inch on the 6th. We had 3/4 of an inch on the 1st and over an inch on the 6th. We had over an inch on the 11th, about 3/4 of an inch on the 12th, 1/3 of an inch on Saturday and Sunday, and another 3/4 on the 19th. So we've really gone a long way to making up our rainfall deficit that we've had for months. So it is certainly good to have that moisture, and it's nice to have some nicer weather to look forward to with the drier conditions. All right, today we are looking at temperatures that are going to be in the mid-60s. Tomorrow back to 56. So these up and down temperatures continue almost day to day. As you can see, those temperature trends up to 69 by Thursday. A cold front comes through. There'll be chances for wet weather later Thursday and Thursday evening. Now, after that, on Friday, it'll be cooler, back into the 50s, and then we're going to see temperatures into the 60s again on Saturday before a more significant push of cooler air. Now, one thing to note, our normal high is 55. So it's interesting when we look at our cooler days going forward, we have a couple days down into the upper 40s, but for the most part, we're getting close to average for our chilly days, and our warm days are really warm. So it does look like we're getting away from that deep cold that we experienced last week with the snow. I don't see any really crazy cold snaps coming up over the next 10 days. That may be some relief. I know a lot of folks are like, okay, we're done with the snow. Can we start talking about summertime and the beach, for instance? Here's the sky view down at the ocean front. Look at how flat the ocean waters are right now. Waves only a couple of feet. That's it on the ocean. As we take a look at the conditions out there on the water, you're going to note the winds fairly light and the wave action very flat. South winds 5 to 10 knots. That's on the bay and on the ocean. Water temperature in the Chesapeake Bay right now, 38 degrees, 42 in the ocean, seas just a couple of feet. High tide coming up around 1:15. It is really flat for this time. Right now, you look out there and it's almost glassy. Now we're taking a look at the satellite and the radar images, and we could take this full. I do want to expand the view a little bit and talk about some of that wet weather and some of the snow that we are looking at up around the Great Lakes region. None of this really for us. Again, some of the rain kind of moderate to heavier up around Buffalo, New York. It's a soggy day there. They've been dealing with rain in Cleveland. Another batch is bearing down on them. Detroit's getting it right now, but they'll see the wet weather in Cleveland a little bit later on. Wanted to let you know, down in Florida, they had flooding rain down around the Florida Keys yesterday. That rain has pushed past now into the Bahamas. Central Florida in much better shape. And still a little bit of rain curling back towards Jacksonville. So northeast Florida there seeing a little bit. Of course, spring training in full swing now down the Grapefruit League down in Florida. So they're looking for some drier conditions for everybody that goes down to check out spring training. Over in Arizona, the Cactus League, things are looking really good there, very dry. Now we're going to come back to Hampton Roads and talk to you some more about the weather and what's going to happen here. I mentioned we've got some nice weather to talk about. We'll jump in with our Futurecast and take a look at the temperatures again this afternoon. Warming up. We were above average yesterday. Today, it's really going to feel great. Temperatures up mid-60s anyway, and some inland areas a little bit warmer than that. By 6:45, temperatures obviously cooling back down. I want you to note the wind direction. You'll see tonight and into tomorrow, the wind's kind of coming in from the north. That's going to set up a cooler day tomorrow. So warmer today, a little cooler tomorrow. We'll deal with that. But the winds are going to shift back around late tomorrow, and that's going to push our temperatures back up as we get into Thursday. You'll also notice a little more cloud cover here in the mid-Atlantic. As we look out to the west, you don't see much. This is through Thursday morning, and even midday Thursday, we're still pretty quiet. Look at these numbers on the screen. If you're excited about spring and the warmer weather, you notice it's breezy there Thursday afternoon, up to 70 in Virginia Beach and Chesapeake, 67 around Franklin and Emporia, upper 60s through Ahoskie for the peninsula. We've got mid to upper 60s there Thursday afternoon, a little cooler there. Rain showers, though, are going to move back in, and you see that by late Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. Light to moderate showers. The one thing that I do want you to note about the rain chances coming up later Thursday is the orientation of the line out ahead of the front that's pushing in. It's from the northeast down through the southwest, and the wet weather will be moving along. So even though the rain itself is not expected to be tremendously heavy, we could have some precip adding up just due to the fact that you're going to have rain kind of moving over the same area for a little while. So we will, of course, keep you updated on that here at 13 News Now. Our temperatures today, they're going to top out, as I mentioned, mid-60s around Norfolk, a little warmer, some inland areas, upper 60s, close to 70, a little cooler in Virginia Beach. Skies are going to be mostly sunny, but you may see a few more clouds kind of drifting through from time to time this afternoon. Plenty of sunshine around Williamsburg, beautiful up there at the campus of William and Mary. Christopher Newport looking good there, 64, sunshine. Hampton University, HU looking good, 63. We'll find temperatures on the eastern shore, little chillier in the 50s, 58 at Matthews and 64 at Gloucester. Down across northeast North Carolina, Elizabeth City, 65, 68 at Edenton. A lot of sunshine for northeast North Carolina. A few more clouds, but still pretty nice down around the Outer Banks. Temperatures there, as you can see, in the upper 50s. I mentioned tonight, clear skies, or at least mainly clear conditions, so check out that planetary parade, the alignment with all those planets visible at the same time. Want to see that. Overnight lows down around 40, winds shifting to the north, 5 to 15 miles per hour. And then tomorrow, north winds keeping those temperatures right at the coast in check. It will be a little warmer once again inland. Skies are going to be mostly sunny. Now, as we take a look at the 7-day forecast, our temperatures are going to jump back up to near 69 on Thursday. We have that chance for showers coming in late, and I do think we'll see that. That's going to develop initially out to the west and then push closer to us as we go later in the afternoon. And I would say into the evening, our best chances for rain. Highs near 69 on Thursday. Behind the front, a drop in temperatures. Friday's high around 53. I think we're going to be dry on Friday, but I'll just mention a slight chance of a sprinkle early in the morning. Looking ahead to the weekend, 64 on Saturday, mostly sunny, and then Sunday, 48. So a little bit cooler there Sunday into Monday. Certainly a drop from Saturday's high, but these temperatures about 7 or 8 degrees below our average for this time of year. All in all, it's a really good looking forecast. We'll enjoy our warm days. And again, late Thursday, our chance for rain. When we get it, we'll deal with it. Shouldn't be super heavy, but there might be some spots where there's a little more accumulation with the rain. All right, I want to let you know you can find me anytime on social media, Facebook, search Craig Moeller, Instagram, Craig Moeller TV, and on X, 13 Craig Moeller. All great ways to reach out. Let us know what you think about the Weather Desk. Love to hear from you. And we also post a lot more content. There's some video clips and some different things, warnings, different things like that that come out across our region and sometimes around the country as well. All right, another great way to stay in touch with our forecast. It's always at your fingertips when you download the 13 News Now app. You can scan that code right there, that QR code, and download the app right now. It's a free app, and it gives you full access to our forecast updates, our detailed radar. You get push alerts when there's breaking news, all kinds of great ways to stay in touch with our weather team here at 13 News Now and our news team as well. So take a moment to do that. And remember, when you tune in to us here on 13 News Now Plus, it's all of our content all the time, accessible from anywhere around the world on your time. So hopefully you enjoy this content and these longer format weather discussions. This is the Weather Desk. Again, today's top weather headlines, and you'll find us here each and every day, Monday through Friday, right around 9 a.m. Have a great day.